What's up guys, welcome to today's video. It is Gear and Tips Tuesday and today we've got a good one. We are talking about monopods. I've got a couple of different things to say about monopods and my monopod specifically. I had a question this week on Twitter from JB Photography asking about monopods and I thought, you know what a great topic for Gear and Tips Tuesday, and that's what we're filming right now. Going to be a good video. It's pretty hot here in the UK right now, which is lovely, but hence the sleeveless top, trying to cool down a little bit. Let's get into the video. It's going to be a great one. Let's go. So, before we get into the topic of the video, first up, I want to say thank you to all of you guys in the response to last Tuesday's video and the first episode of what we're calling the editing suite. I won't go into all the topics of that video. I'll just say I had a load of stuff through to that email address already, which is really cool. Gonna give it another little week or so, like I said I would. Rather than covering all the details of it again, if you haven't watched that video, go check it out. There'll be a link to that one at the end of this one. So watch this one first, of course, then go check out that one. You'll know what I'm talking about. It's going to be a cool video. Before we start talking about monopods, you guys have got to go and do one thing for me, and that is press that like button just down below. I've talked about it the last couple of videos. The biggest single thing you can do to support my channel is to hit that like button on each and every video. Why would you not? The videos are going to be cool. I want to keep them coming, so please do take the couple of seconds to go hit that like button. Whilst you're there, if you haven't already, please do think about pressing subscribe if you're new to the channel. Loads more videos to come. Loads more videos already on my channel that you should go and check out. So today we are talking monopods. I'm not just going to talk about the monopod I use. I'm going to talk about monopods generally, but I'm sure a lot of people are going to be interested in the monopod that I use. So let's start off with that. At the moment, for the last probably two, even 3 years maybe, I use a Velbon Sherpa ProPod 7, and that's the one that I use. It is a carbon fiber monopod. It's not too long. To give you a comparison, it's like a little bit longer than my forearm kind of length. It's a really great monopod. I can't imagine myself changing it anytime soon, and it's really durable, so I don't think I'll be needing to change it anytime soon either, unless something unexpected happens, which fingers crossed it won't. So I'm going to cover this topic in 3 sections. I'm going to talk about what type of monopod you should be looking to get, and by that I mean like the material it's made of. I'm going to talk about to do with the extensions. You generally get 2 different types of extensions. You get the twist lock like mine, and you also get like the pull kind of trigger locks down here. Mine's a twisting one. Nothing against the flick lock type. I just prefer the twisting lock, which I'll get to in a minute. And thirdly, I'm going to talk about like accessories that go with your monopod and things you might find useful. So the first of those 3 topics and things to consider when you're buying a monopod. There's always a lot of talk around what type of monopod should you get. Should you get a plastic one, an aluminium one, or a carbon fiber one? Now, I will be the first person to say, go back and watch my old videos. I started with a real cheap monopod. Actually, I think it was made of carbon fiber, but it was really thin and flimsy, and we got it cheap. I tell you what I do. I will link some different types of monopods in the bottom of this video in the description. And I'll make sure I link them to the different types of monopod that I personally have used through the years so that you know roughly what I'm talking about. Now, that first one I had, it was very flimsy, very thin. And that, I think, is probably the first thing to talk about. Because one of the things you want to consider is you want a strong monopod, especially if you have the intention of using the bigger, stronger lenses on top. That is because when you get it extended, especially when you get a monopod extended to the lowest point, the bottom part is always going to be your thinnest piece. Now you can see this is probably about 1 inch diameter at the thinnest part, but it is a thick monopod and it is really solid. You can't like bend this, you'd really struggle if you tried, and it is really solid. I'm happy that when I'm using it and I've got my lens on it in front of me, it's not flimsy, it's not going to wobble around. It's a really solid monopod, and I would suggest that that is more important than anything else, whether it's plastic, aluminium, carbon fiber. That doesn't really matter so much. Yeah, of course it will make a difference. Something like carbon fiber or aluminium is generally going to be stronger than plastic, but don't worry too much about the material. Being sturdy is the first and foremost thing that I believe to be important. Secondly, as I said before, you tend to get 2 different types of monopod. You tend to get a twist lock monopod And then you tend to get the flicking type as well. I don't have a flicking trigger monopod to show you what I mean, but I'm going to link one of those in the description because my first ever monopod was one of those. It was a plastic one with like the flick lock triggers. So if you don't know what I mean, go check that out and you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm sure you guys do. A lot of you are going to have monopods with that type of trigger. Now, I used both. My second monopod also had that type on. This is the only monopod that I've owned with the twist lock ones. No, I take that back. It's the second one I've owned with the twist lock type. I prefer this. I find it quicker to use. But really, the time difference you're talking about is minimal. So don't get too held up on this particular point. The reason I like it is because I find that I twist, I extend it, I lock, and it's done. Same with the longer one. I twist it, I extend it, I lock, and it's done. Now, I'm sure people using the trigger type, it's not really going to be any slower, but I just generally prefer it. Again, look, I can twist it, I can close it, twist it, and it's done. And I find that a little bit quicker and just more natural to my hands rather than trying to unclip it. Now, some of the best monopods in the world that you can buy have the flick lock type on them. So there's nothing with that either. Really, it's just a personal preference, and that's where my personal preference is. Lastly, I wanted to talk about accessories. Now, I really only have two things accessory-wise with my monopod. The first thing I have done is I have added some additional padding to this section here. Now, this is literally a grip from a tennis racket. In fact, it's two grips from a tennis racket that I have wrapped around this section here. This orange tape is the end. So it's just this piece to this piece here. I've done that to make it more comfortable because sometimes, as I'll show you guys in a second, I will carry my gear on my shoulder and it means it's not digging in or anything like that. And so that's why I've done that. The second accessory that I have is the strap. This one comes with the strap, but I've kept it on there. It doesn't clip. I could take it off if I wanted to. But I find this really useful. Every now and again, if I've just got the monopod, I can literally just flick it on my shoulder and my hands are free to carry my other stuff. So I like the shoulder strap as well. Now, the last point I'm going to talk about with accessories is something actually which I don't have, but I used to. I used to have one of the quick release plate holders on the top of this. And then I had the plate on my lens, so my lens would clip on and I could lock that and it was done on the top. Now, I decided to take that off, I think at the beginning of last football season. The reason being, I was doing the job out and about in the summertime, which involved me walking around quite a lot. And at one point, I picked up my gear, I put it on my shoulder, exactly like I just said, and I realised that this mechanism here had come slightly loose. Now, only slightly, nothing fell, I didn't drop anything, but it made me think, actually, I've kind of created a weak point there when I don't really need to, because it's not like I'm ever in a desperate rush trying to take my big lens off and put something else on there. So why not just get rid of the plate altogether and just screw the end of this directly to the lens? And that's what I do now. So I took that plate off. So it's an optional accessory. It depends whether or not you guys want it. I decided to get rid of it and take it off. I'm quickly going to put my lens and my camera onto this so you can see how it looks and I can demonstrate a couple of the bits I was talking about. Let me do that right now. Okay, so here's the bad boy. I've got the 300mm with the 1DX. So like I talked about, I literally screw this directly into the lens. I don't use any kind of quick plate, I just screw it on. Yeah, fine, it takes a couple of seconds, but really, look, it's done already. It wasn't that difficult. Now, the reason I like a monopod that is not too long is now I can leave that. The lens is stood up on its end like this, and that will stay there. This isn't too heavy, it's not too long, it's not going to counterweight the lens and pull it over. It stays. So when I'm sat at a pitch side or something, if I need to quickly put it down, I can. I wouldn't leave it like this for long because something could knock this or they could make it fall. And it's risky, but that generally works. The join here is now screwed in, so it's really solid. I don't believe there is any risk of that coming off. Now, one of the main advantages that I'm sure people will be thinking about why they might want some kind of attachment on here would be something like a ball head, so that you're in a situation where you can then move your monopod around on the end of your monopod move your camera around on that ball head without worrying about your monopod moving. I personally don't feel like I need that. What I do is I keep the tripod collar loose so that I can turn the camera side to side. Now what I find that does is when I'm shooting football, I hope you guys can see this all right. Let me just bring you in slightly. when I'm shooting football, I tend to keep my monopod in one place, and as the play moves past me, where I can turn this, it enables me to keep the horizon level. So when I'm right over here at this kind of angle, so you can see like the monopod is at this angle right now, the camera's still straight, and if I have to move all the way past me and come over to this side, again I can twist this, and again the horizon is still straight. And so I tend to do that, and I find that's absolutely fine. The other advantage of keeping this tripod collar loose is that when it's time to put your stuff down, you can put that over to the top. I've got that on there nice and solid, and I can lower that down and put it down by my side nice and easy. I touched before on the fact that I've got this padding on here. That's because generally speaking, I will carry my camera over my shoulder like this. It balances real well in there. You get it against your head. You can almost kind of let go and it stays where it is, especially if I'm moving from one point to the other, if I'm walking around. And adding that padding to the handle, it makes it real comfortable on my shoulder. And if I need to walk for like 5-10 minutes or something even, although you'd rarely have to, but if I needed to, I could carry that on there, no problem. And it gives my hands free to carry some other bits. As long as I kind of lock my arm around this, I can carry other things as well. So I find that real handy. And that's about it, guys. That is pretty much all I've got to say about monopods. Let me know what you think. I'd love to know which type of monopod you use. In fact, something funny which I was just thinking as I made this video, I'm quite interested in who has the clip lock and who has the twist lock, and if you have a reason why you think one is better than the other, let me know in the comments. I'm quite interested about that. As I said, the monopod itself is a Velben Sherpa ProPod 7. If I can find that on Amazon or something, I'll link it in the description. It might be that there's a newer model now, and I'll link that one in the description if I can't find my own specific one. I'm going to link some of the other ones that I've previously owned down there as well. If you enjoyed the video, if you found it useful, perhaps you're in the market for a monopod and that's helped you out, please do go and hit that like button. Subscribe if you are new. I'm going to have loads more videos coming on the channel. Quickly should apologise that there wasn't a main video on the channel over the weekend. That's because I'm actually making 2 new videos right now, which are going to be real cool, but they take a little bit more filming. So those are going to be coming up on the channel real soon. Don't worry about that. In the meantime, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Gear and Tips Tuesday, and I will see you guys. I will see you on the next video.